You see, sometimes when we tell certain stories in the Bible, we tend to focus on one aspect of the story and not the aspect that truly promotes the character and the nature of God. A typical example of this is the story of the widow in Zarephath and Elijah. Most times when we tell the story, we focus on how Elijah was able to multiply the jar of oil, but we are not looking at one critical aspect of the story, which is the widow. The Bible says the widow had just a little quantity of oil to make the last meal for her and her child to eat so they can die. But rather, she chose to give that last quantity to Elijah. Note this, Elijah did not say, make me this meal, and I, a prophet, will prove to you that I walk with God. I will multiply food in your house. He did not say that. Remember, the widow was suffering from hunger because of the drought that was caused by Elijah shutting the heaven. But rather, this widow gave her last food to this prophet, not expecting anything. That is a high display of love, but we don't see that in the story. I always tell people, whenever I read this story, I want to be like the widow. I don't want to be like Elijah. That the woman can carry her last meal that was meant for her and her child to eat and then die of starvation. She neglected her needs and neglected the needs of her child to feed a stranger, to feed a prophet. I mean, if you are a prophet, you shouldn't be begging for bread. But here's a prophet begging for bread. And this woman sacrificed her last food. That is love. This is what it means when Jesus says we should love our neighbors. But we choose not to see this part of the story because everybody loves miracle. We want to be like Elijah. Another example is the Shunammite woman that provided accommodation for Elisha whenever he travels. This woman did not provide accommodation for Elisha because she wanted something miraculous to happen in her life. In fact, when Elisha asked her, what do you want? She said, I lack nothing. It was the servant of Elisha, Gehazi, that told Elisha, this woman doesn't have a child. And Elisha decided to make that miracle happen. But the woman gave that accommodation to that servant of God out of love, out of empathy. Many of us will give to men of God today, not because we understand the voluminous nature of their work, but because we feel if you trade into their life, we will receive from God. So it has become trade for us. And so whenever we read that story, we only focus on the ability of Elisha. We don't look at the heart that this Shunammite woman carries, which is the heart of Christ, the heart of sacrificial love, the heart of our abundance. She went extra mile to make sure that the servant of God found comfort in her abode. We all want to be like Elijah. We all want to be like Elisha. These other people are not good examples for us to be like. This is the problem with our generation. We are not looking for the nature of Christ. We are looking for the hand of God. We just want his power. We don't want his likeness.